Boys, shh.
Alright. Okay.
It's okay, just let it go.
The reasons we set it up, I mean, I'd spoke to Pally for a while about doing something, and we never really had a venue that we were pleased with or we felt was good enough. And there's some good venues now, but once this place opened and we seen it, we came round and had a chat, we just thought, you know what, that's perfect. It's right in the middle of Middlesbrough. It's a fantastic facility. We just felt that this was the right place to try and do it. So we thought, yeah, we'll give it a go. Spoke to Bernie. Bernie wanted to do it. Spoke to Curtis. Curtis was up for it, and we just went from there, really.
We're not setting up a team to play in the league. We just did it to try and help kids improve their soccer skills and as I say, just enjoy themselves. You know, there's 3 great coaches in Craig Hignett, Bernie Slaven, Curtis Lemon, and we brought Jim Platt aboard as well to work with the goalkeepers. So it's going well.
You can bring enthusiasm, you can bring experiences, professional level, and probably experiences of life through football every age. We've played at every age, whether we played professional or not, we would have been footballers anyway because we just love the game. So we bring that to them. We don't bring any, you know, telling people they should be doing this, you should be doing that. We just help them. But we think with the coaches that we have here, good lads, we just want kids to progress, no more, no less, and enjoy themselves. And with the group of coaches we have here, that's half the battle, and I think we'll do well.
I think Dario Gradi, for one, has been fantastic. You know, a real football man, lived for football really, and I count myself as very lucky. Having come into his company so young, you know, I think I was 18 when he ended up going to Crewe from Liverpool. So Dario, without doubt, has been the #1 influence on how I do things. And there's a fella called John Bennison, who's at Liverpool, who was a real, although you didn't realise it at the time, he was a real helpful character in my development. You know, Robbo, for different reasons, you know, Robbo was someone you'd look up to and you'd want to play for just because of his reputation and what he'd done in the game. So there was utmost respect there with Robbo. You know, Aitor, working with Aitor was different. The sessions were great, you know, and I'll take them on. Whatever I do in the future, I'll take bits and bobs of that on.
I would probably say Bruce Rioch. I worked under Bruce for a number of years. He was very successful. He was a very strict disciplinarian. You know, back then you had to shave every day. We don't need to tell the kids to shave, they're too young, but you know, you had to shave every day, you had to dress smartly, you couldn't come in with love bites or you'd be sent home. Discipline's a big part of the game. No matter what age you are and what level you're at, you need discipline, a code of discipline. And probably Bruce Rioch, without a shadow of a doubt, Rioch.
Most players that have played at a really decent level have a little bit of everything. You can't just make it in the game with just one thing. You can't be the most technically gifted player in the world without wanting to run or to take a kick or to be able to head a ball and that. So again, we're just really trying to build up the basic core of skills, and then we will then fine-tune them. There's no pressure when the kids come here. They will get better if they listen and they want to listen, but the best thing for us is that they come, they enjoy it, and they learn one thing.
Well, one of the biggest disappointments for me, you know, I've been here 30 years now in Teesside. I love the area. I think I know the mentality of the area. And I look at the academy, the players that's churned out and made big bucks, i.e. Stewie Downing, Adam Johnson, you know, millions of pounds. But we've never unearthed a centre forward or a striker. And that's the one chink that I see in the academies, or our academy. There's only 10 players scored 100 goals in Middlesbrough's history. 7 or 8 of the 10 are from Middlesbrough. Brian Clough, Camsell, Mickey Fenton, David Mills, Wolf Mannion, born and bred in Middlesbrough. And that for me is something that I would love to get a gym and say, this guy can go all the way and be a centre forward. The biggest thing I got taught as a kid was if you're looking for accuracy in one-on-one situations, the only way to do it is pass the ball into the inside the foot. My biggest tip, that's the best thing I ever got taught as a kid. And that was with my father. It wasn't a manager or a professional person, it was my father, who I respected greatly. And I try and pass it on to the kids now. When you're in front of goal, keep your calm and pass it into the net.
Yeah, there's no doubt we will. Again, I think, we've only started, a few months ago, and we've got a few kids. Craig's been doing a couple of sessions with a few of the girls that have come in. And I think with England doing so well in the World Cup and progressing probably a lot further than people thought, and then give them a chance and the quality that they show, I think the girls' game's only going to go through the roof. It's huge in Scandinavia, in China. The French league is fantastic in America, so the women's game is growing. There's no doubt about it. So I think it's important that we tap into that.
The final was unbelievable. It really was incredible, and my thoughts were from the last time I'd seen women's football that the standard had gone through the roof, and there were some fantastic players, some really technically gifted players as well. And that's taken off. I mean, you can see some of the coverage that it's getting now nationally, and it's on TV and there's people talking about it.
And again, someone kicking your ball, doesn't matter what gender you are, what height you are. You know what I mean? You either can kick a ball or you can't, or we can learn to kick a ball and that. So, our doors are open and we're hoping to get as many girls in as we can.
We've got maybe 8 or 10 girls who've started, all different ages, different abilities. But one thing is that they all love football, and it's great to see.
We have no doubt that when they come, the word will spread and the groups will get bigger.
I just like to play acting. I think that's a real bugbear for me. I think there's some things I do like about it as well. The people say money's ruined the game, and they wouldn't be totally wrong with that. I think money has had a detrimental effect on the game. Certainly English players. English players, you have to look at people like Ross McCormack, Andre Gray, who are championship players who, I don't think Andre Gray's played in the Premier League yet. He's gone for 9 million, McCormack 12 million, Jordan Rhodes never played in the Premier League, 14 million. The English players are always at a premium, and a lot of the times they're not as good as the foreigners you can bring in for half the price. So something needs to be done with that, because if it doesn't, then our national game will just stay stagnant, and it's a real shame really, because we have got some talented kids who aren't getting a look in at some big clubs in this country.
I like the idea that we've got a lot more international players over here, good international players. I think when I was sort of playing at the peak of my powers, I guess that a lot of the top players would find themselves either in Italy or Spain. I think that's changed a little bit now. I think we find a lot of the top players coming over to the Premier League. Dislikes some of the diving that goes on, some of the harassing of referees. I think that needs to be nipped in the bud a little bit. But generally I think we've got a great product in the Premier League. I think it's the most exciting league in the world. We see that by the way the TV rights have gone. Everybody wants to watch the Premier League. So I don't think there's a great deal too wrong with the football over here right now.
I think they're good people. They're down-to-earth people. My upbringing in Glasgow is from a council estate. I've never forgot that. No matter what level you were playing at or how much money you were making, it doesn't change me as a person. I'm still the guy for Glasgow for that rough council tenement estate, and it's something I'm proud of. And here at our academy, Pally, Higgy, Curtis, myself, I would say we're all good guys. We're all respected guys. We're no big time Charlies. We wouldn't allow that. And I think we've got a great group of guys here as well.
I just think it's the people. I think it's the area. I think it gets a lot of bad press. I don't think it's appreciated enough. I played at Middlesbrough for nearly 11 years. I went down to play at Crystal Palace for 3 years, and they hadn't got a clue what was up here. They thought it was just like, big chimneys and smoke and miners everywhere and stuff, and they didn't know all the lovely villages, the good people. People will help you out. In the North East, they'll always say, how you doing? You'll never be bored in a pub. someone that always talk to you, you know, and I just think they're just good people. I'm originally from Dublin, and everybody says, I can't believe you don't want to go back to Dublin because it's this, is that. No, I think Teesside is my home. It's a great place, and I'll never go back.
I'd have to say after the liquidation in '86, I think you know, it was a bunch of lads that were thrown together. You know, a bunch of young lads that had to survive. We had, you know, no place to train. It looked as though for a while we wouldn't be able to play at Essen Park. We were saved at the last minute. These young kids came together in the 3rd division, and I think we were favourites for relegation. There were some really talented kids in there, as well as some good senior pros as well, like Stephen Pears and Bernie Slave and Archie Stevens. Who really helped the sort of young kids along, and we just built up momentum from that. And you know, for us to get promotion in that season in '86 after all the problems, and basically playing with 16 players or 15 players, I think it was we used that year. I think that'll stick long in the memory. I mean, those were special times with a lot of players that were from this area and around this area, and I think, you know, people who watched that team back then will say they played good football and really entertained.
Playing in the top flight, playing at Wembley for the first time in the club's history. Every goal I scored in a derby game I loved, especially against Newcastle, because they had big time Charlies. So yeah, loads of stuff, you know. When I first came to Middlesbrough, just sampling full-time football was a big thing for me. I'd never sampled it. And then going 3rd, 2nd, 1st in consecutive seasons was no mean feat. That won't happen again at Middlesbrough. Those group of lads that went from liquidation to the top flight was wow. The majority of our local lads, unique, it won't happen again.
I've got some really good ones. You know, my first season over, I played with Bernie, and I'd been playing non-league in Ireland, and we got promotion to the first Premier League under Lenny Lawrence, which was fantastic. And then we had the Brian Robson era, which was huge. You know, we got to cup finals, and the first game of the season against Liverpool was 3-3 draw in Ravenelli, and the place was absolutely rocking. You know, you usually have about 5,000 in for the warm-up. There's 25,000 samba bands. It was an amazing day, and it just showed how far the club had gone. But we got relegated. But the following season, a few of the big stars had gone, and Paul Merson had come, and we beat Oxford United on the last day in '98, having to get promoted straight back up. And for me, that was a great achievement, because we had to pick ourselves up from the previous season, where we'd lost 2 cup finals, got relegated. A few of the star players are going. Everyone was saying, you know, the club's going to struggle now, and we didn't. So for me, walking around the pitch after that game is one of the best feelings I ever felt. Probably the best feeling.
Looking back on my time at Borough now, the club I started at, the club I left it at, was on a different planet. And to be involved in that all the way up the line, you couldn't have wished for anything more as a kid growing up. You wanted to play with the best players, and at the time, Borough could have signed anyone, and they had the best players. You know, Ravenelli just won the Champions League and was top scorer in it. Juninho was World Player of the Year, I think, at the time, or Young World Player of the Year. Emerson, just an unbelievable talent. So I count myself really lucky to be involved in that. But the games that stand out for me, and my first at the Riverside and last at the Riverside, that, you know, in between, the cup finals were brilliant. But to score the first one at the Riverside is obviously a massive thing for me. It was really special, and still is. And then my last one in a Borough shirt, you know, the Oxford game, scored 2, got promoted. And to go out like that, no, I couldn't have asked for anything more. You know, it was fantastic for me.